Hey guys, I'm gonna do something a little different today. We'll create a quick little update on the car, but this is not the focus of today's video. Today's video is actually to talk about a new MIG welder that I just picked up. So this is a little bit of a review process. So first up, what happened with my MIG welder? Here it is, my old MIG 175, my old workhorse. I've had it 10 or 11 years. I don't exactly recall when I bought it. But it took the crap out of me. The contactor, I don't know what the actual terminology is for it, and the board died on it. So what happened was we were doing some spot welding, or tack welding I should say, and even without depressing the trigger on the torch, the wire was always live and it was at full amperage. So it would just blow through the sheet metal, right? So you couldn't even just like do a workaround of just, tack welding it. So that died on me about 2 or 3 weeks ago. I don't remember exactly what. The next day I called up Eastwood. I called their local store here in Alsip. They said, you know what, even though it's not under warranty, bring it in, we'll take a look at it. So I brought it in, they took a look at it. They told me the board was bad and the conductor, whatever that is. I'm not a electrical guru by any means. And the problem is this is so old, they've had 3 generations of this 175 model that they don't have parts for it anymore, right? So couldn't fix it. And I said, thanks guys, I appreciate it. I'm not ready to buy another welder from you guys right at the moment. I'm gonna do some research and I'll get back to you. I went home, looked at some welders online, read a crap ton of reviews. Came down to a couple different welders that I was looking at. I was honestly going to do another 110 model just because I do majority of sheet metal. I don't do a lot of heavier gauge material welding. And it came down to the Everlast MiG 140E, I believe is the newest model. I really wanted to get that one, but I placed the order. They're 2 months backlogged, so I had to cancel that order. I was kind of looking at the Yes welder from China. Just wasn't ready to pull the trigger on something like that, even though there's been some pretty good reviews on it. And then the Hobart 140, which everybody knows that's like the best 110 welder that's pretty much out there. Problem is it's like $800, and they were also out of stock everywhere. So what happened? Well, I went back to Eastwood and I bought their MiG 180, which I really didn't want to buy another MiG welder, or another Eastwood MiG welder. But they were the only people that had one in stock, so I bought it, and it actually is performing way above my expectations. So let's first talk about the 175 and its shortfalls. Right, the 175, I've had three issues with it. The solenoid for the gas inlet has failed 3 times. Once or twice out of warranty or in warranty, and then once out of warranty. And then the board failed as well in warranty. And again, Eastwood support's been fantastic. They've taken care of all that stuff. I never had an issue. Even with the solenoid failing out of warranty, it was $20 for their solenoid, and it's taking apart the welder, open up the back panels, real quick swap fix, easy going. So from a operational standpoint, it's always pretty much worked, except for those few little flaws that it's had fixed pretty easily, pretty quickly, or under warranty. Performance-wise, it does excellent with thicker metal, right? It is a 220 welder. It can weld, thicker materials. It is fantastic laying down a nice bead on thicker material or even doing tack welds. No issues with the performance there. The performance issues I did have with it was with sheet metal. Anything from 20 gauge to 24 gauge, even 18 gauge was a little iffy here and there. It would never consistently lay down the same tack welds, right? You always had to adjust the amperage down a little bit and the wire speed up a little, and then you had to get it to a certain heat. So you'd start with a weld, let it cool just a little bit, and continue going at it, and you had to keep a specific rhythm to be able to lay down something that actually penetrated properly and didn't give you a ton of booger welds. And even then sometimes it did, just because I didn't get the rhythm right, or I held it, didn't have the settings exactly right. So I wasn't really happy with this, and I was like, I'm not buying another Eastwood Welder, I'm gonna actually get a better one, you know, like the Hobarts or the Millers. You know, the problem is they're like $800 plus, you know, if not 1,000 plus. So that's why I was not originally going to get it, but $499. I got it a little bit cheaper for that because I A, had a coupon, and B, the guys at the store remembered me bringing in the 175 and said, hey, we'll take care of you, right? You've been a good customer. So I got it a little bit cheaper than that. So I was very happy, very surprised. So some of the benefits or upgrades from the 180 to the 175. So first off, the 180 uses inverter technology versus the old 175, which is transformer technology. So this means it can step down, automatically recognize if it's a 110 connection, 220. It can be run off a generator, which is kind of nice because there's been a few times when I've been like, yeah, I would have brought it out to the field and, you know, welded something versus having people having to bring shit over to my house and, you know, get it close enough where my 220 outlet and the welder can actually reach to it, right? Other upgrades, it has these nice little features, the 2T, 4T, and Tack. I haven't played with that yet. I don't know if I ever will. But hey, it's nice features to have if you ever want to play with them. For those that don't know, 2T is when you press the trigger and you release the trigger, it only welds while the trigger is pressed. 4T is when you're going to lay a nice long weld and you don't want your finger held on the trigger the whole time. You press it, it's just going to continue to keep going until you pull it off, right? Or until you press it again. The Tack Weld, I got to read up on. I don't know exactly how that's supposed to operate, but it's supposed to help you lay down consistent tacks. And then, of course, this does work with an aluminum spool gun for MIG welders, which, you know, an added benefit. My 175 came with the spool gun, which I never used, but that spool gun works on this machine. Other little nice features is their connectors, the cables. They all use the standardized connections nowadays, which is kind of the only, not the only negative, one of the few negatives that I can say about this machine is I wish their cables for the 180 were a little bit longer, right? I didn't measure it, but they are shorter than my old 175. You can see the cables draped around my vise there. They're a little shorter, so what I'll probably end up doing is going to a welding supply store and getting longer ground wire and torch wire, or torch cable and ground cable. Another upgrade for this one is it comes with a metal drive wheel for feeding wire. The old 175, at least the first and second generations, were plastic. I actually never had a problem with that, so I can't say that was a big complaint, but I do know that that is one of the big things that people, you know, when they review these MIG welders in these price ranges, you know, when they are plastic like that, people complain about it. So it is a metal drive wheel, which is an added benefit. Another great thing about this one is because of the inverter technology, this thing is only about 20 pounds. That behemoth, I think it's 60 or 80 pounds. I want to say it's 80. I think it's supposed to say 67, but it doesn't feel like 67 pounds. It feels much more. That's a behemoth. It fucking weighs a lot. All right. The other only thing that I can give as a negative is, I don't know if you can see this here. If you see where the gas line feeds into the machine, right? Why would you put it in the middle of the machine, right? Route it off to the side, just like you did the electrical cable. Here's the thing, guys. This is an Eastwood cart. You can actually see it. It's down there on the bottom. It barely fits on this cart. You can see here how this is. I had to push this lip a little bit forward just to get the machine to fit. And then, of course, the way the gas bottle hooks up with your chains, it is right up against that cable, right? Come on, guys. You know, you guys do all this R&D. I see you do it on YouTube, but you do something boneheaded like that, that is just asinine, right? I've got the machine pushed all the way over to one side just so I can, you know, not be pinching or, you know, rubbing up on that cable. Come on, guys. This is your cart, your machine. You didn't have a problem with it on your older models. Why would you do it on your new models, right? If this is going to work, you want people to, and I looked, their carts, these are the exact same carts that they sell today. Why would you build a machine that doesn't fit on your current carts? It's kind of asinine, right? So that's from an overview of the machine. I've actually used this up until today. I ran out of gas in the bottle, which is one of the reasons why I can't give you a, you know, real demo performance of the machine. When I was dialing it in, I used some scrap metal here. Ignore most of these spot welds that you see here on the screen. These were from my nephew playing with the 175, you know, it's practice welds. But this bead here and this bead here, we're literally following the machine, plugging it in, setting it all up, getting all done, lifting the door, setting the adjustments on the machine to what the manufacturer, Eastwood, recommends, and that is a beautiful bead, right? This 175 that I had never would have laid a bead like that, right? It would have blown through it, or it would have had a really high rise, real high proud to the weld, right? So this machine, this new 180, vastly outperforms the old 175 when it comes to welding sheet metal. And I'm going to say I've been playing with it all week, you know, welding sheet metal in the car, you know, doing tack welds and, you know, fixing some previous welds that I had from the 175, and it is vastly outperformed. And I'm very, very pleased with how this machine is laying welds, right? I would almost go as far as saying it competes with like laying welds like a Hobart or a Miller that I have played with, that I've had direct experience with. Again, I'm not a great welder, I'm not a professional, but, you know, I've done welding for 10, 15 years. So, you know, I know what a good machine does versus a bad machine. I'm going to say A+ on this one. I'm very happy with it. It makes me feel better knowing I spent the money and got a good machine. All right. So that's my review of the 180. I think it's worth the value, right? If the Hobart was closer in price, I would say go get the Hobart, even though it's still a transformer technology. It's, you know, it's a Hobart. You know, you can't beat those, right? They're best in class for a reason, right? But it is damn close, and for $300 cheaper, and of course still being in stock, I'm not going to regret buying this. I don't think. We'll see in 6 months or a year if I'm having problems with it, and if I do, Eastwood does have A+ support. So let's get to the car real quick. Still looks the same, at least to you guys on screen. I've just been running around fixing little pinholes from, you know, previous welds. Ran out of gas in the bottle, so can't continue on, and that's why I figured I'd stop and do this little quick video of the review of the machine and give you an update here. Once I get the bottle filled, I've just got to run around, finish a few little pinholes on the car, do some grinding because I don't want to do any burn through, or, you know, have to fix something on the inside of the car, or sand something on the inside of the car and cause the paint or the bed liner and all that crap to melt. So I'm just going to get that done real quick and be completely finished with that process, and then I'm ready to paint. And I do have the supplies, so here's the update on the car. I have a self-etching primer, or acid etch primer. This will convert any existing rust that I couldn't, you know, grind down. You see the car, it's kind of shiny and smooth, but some of the crevices, it's still got a little bit of crustiness, a little bit of surface rust. This will convert that back to, you know, usable metal and prevent further corrosion. So that's what we're going to do here. When you use a acid etching primer, you have to be careful what your top coat is. Again, this is the underneath of the car, so it's not like I'm going to be laying down a urethane or a high build primer or anything like that. So we're going from just a self-etching primer, and then we're going to top coat it with this Pore 15 bed liner. And then just for the wheel tubs, because these bed liners, they could chip, you know, rocks and road debris, I'm going to use just this rubberized undercoating I got from Eastwood, you know, $10 or $15 a can. All right. I've got wax and grease remover, so I can clean the metal down and get it all nice. Mixing materials, you know, spray balls and all that stuff. So I've got all my supplies. I'm all ready to go. I just need some 3/6 mil plastic to drape off the car. What I'm going to do is tape off the top half right at the pinch weld and here on the body lines, drape it over the other side of the car, and then on the bottom, same thing, pinch weld, but, you know, tape it to the floor, right? So I don't get shit blown into the body of the car. Hopefully, if I don't have any more delays with my equipment, I should be getting to this here in 3 to 4 weeks. So we'll see what other updates come in if I have any other problems. But thank you all for watching. I appreciate it. If you have any questions or any, you know, anything you want to talk about on the MiG 180, again, I'm going to recommend it. You know, can't beat it for the price. It's vastly outperforming the old 175. But if you have any questions or anything, drop them in the comments. Thanks again for watching, guys.